Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are taking apart the sales page for a product called CardioShield. Now, this isn't a product review. Instead, we're treating this as a masterclass in persuasive communication. By breaking it down, we can really see how stories are used to sell ideas. So, let's dive in. So, the story doesn't start with a product. It starts with a person. Meet Jerry. He's not some expert or scientist. He's just an ordinary guy, a husband, a grandpa. This is a classic storytelling move. It uses that everyman archetype to make you feel an instant connection. They build that trust before a single product is even mentioned. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at Jerry's quest. Then we'll dig into the free advice he gives out. After that, we'll pinpoint the exact moment this whole thing turns into a sales pitch. And finally, we'll check out the offer and, maybe most importantly, the fine print. The whole structure here is textbook. It's a formula called problem, agitate. The problem? The struggle with healthy blood pressure. And then they agitate that problem by claiming that the so-called experts couldn't help. This really taps into a common frustration and sets up our hero, Jerry, as the one who actually figured it all out. This persona is built so carefully. See, Jerry is just like us, but he's done all the heavy lifting. He took matters into his own hands, read all the studies, talked to the top experts. And just like that, he goes from being an ordinary guy to a trustworthy guide who's cut through all the noise to bring you the truth. Okay, so once they've established that trust, the whole thing shifts. Now they start providing value. Jerry shares these 6 supposedly research-backed hacks. This is actually a psychological principle called reciprocity. By giving you something for free, they build credibility and make you feel, kind of obligated to give something back later on. Now, take a look at these hacks. The first 5, totally standard health advice, right? Exercise, eat well, manage your stress. It's all very sensible, stuff you can't really argue with. But the real key here is number 6. That one is the bridge. It ever so subtly shifts the topic from general lifestyle changes to the idea of proven ingredients in a supplement. So, the stage is set. Trust has been built, some value has been provided, and that little seed has been planted about supplementation. It really begs the question, what is the logical next step in this perfectly crafted story? And boom, here it is, the pivot. This is the exact moment the narrative turns from all that general free advice to a very specific branded solution that you have to buy. Yup, after all that build-up, all that storytelling, the reveal is super simple and direct. The solution to the problem, the thing that all of Jerry's hard work led to, is a product with the name CardioShield. Now, to make the product sound legit, they immediately list some key ingredients. These are names that sound natural and you might even recognize, which adds this layer of scientific credibility. And that little and many others? Well, that gives you the sense of a complete, maybe even secret formula without getting lost in the weeds. All right, now for the sale itself. Let's break down the psychology behind the pricing, the guarantees they use to make you feel safe, and those disclaimers that are so easy to scroll right past. Okay, so this is a classic sales technique. It's called price anchoring. First, they show you this high retail price, $99. That number gets stuck in your head, it becomes the product's value. Then, they present the much lower price of $39, which suddenly feels like an amazing deal you can't possibly miss. And notice how these choices are not created equal. Not by a long shot. This whole pricing setup is designed to guide you. The single bottle? That's the most expensive, per bottle. The 3-bottle option is a little better. But see how the 6-bottle best value package is framed? It's clearly meant to look like the smartest choice, pushing you towards the biggest purchase. And hey, just in case that pricing table wasn't obvious enough, the narrative brings back the trusted voice of Jerry to explicitly recommend the 180-day supply. He connects it to getting optimal results, which frames the biggest purchase not as a sales tactic, but as a genuine health recommendation. So how do you get a customer over the hesitation of spending, over $200 on a 6-month supply? Simple. You offer a massive 180-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. This is a super powerful tool because it's designed to remove all the perceived risk, making it feel like a totally safe decision. All right, now we get to what might be the single most important part of this entire page. And it's the part almost everybody ignores, the fine print. This is where all that marketing talk meets legal reality. So let's just look at what the source itself says, right down at the bottom. I'm quoting directly here. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. It also says the products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease, that the results may not reflect the typical purchaser's experience, and crucially, consult your physician before using. This stuff provides some pretty essential context for everything that came before it. So, this entire journey, from Jerry's relatable quest to the free health tips to the huge discount, it was a carefully constructed path leading to one single destination. It's a great reminder to always think critically about the information we find online and to always ask that simple question: when the advice is free, what's really being sold?